Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glacier of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And I dedicate this video to our friend Bootman MSTZ. How you doing, Boot? Today, I'm going to talk about good Ravonna decks. I've got one that I'm like 16 or 17 to 1 with. I'd give you the exact stats, but I'm an idiot, so I didn't put on the deck tracker. One of my friends has been playing Ravonna all day, and has an 80% win rate. So we're going to lead off with that deck. We're also going to talk about a deck from the great Safety Blade that he is just cold clocking people with. He's getting his Infinity ticket on with a Ravonna deck. So as everyone's telling you that this card is disappointing, this card is bad, I'm here to tell you otherwise. Still not must own. Don't go out and buy it if you don't have enough tokens for everything else. I still think Mobius is going to knock it back a full peg within the next couple days. But that's not to say it's not a good card. It's a very good card that's very powerful and only going to get better the more 0-1 cost cards they print and the more cards get nerfed to 0-1 cost. Snap Judgments is coming out in a couple of days with Den, and I noted that were Hitmonkey not nerfed or nerfed in a different way, or were Surfer not nerfed or nerfed in a different way, we'd have a totally different perspective of Ravonna right now. That kind of card with Ravonna would be completely busted. It doesn't take a lot to say that a 3/3 that makes Surfer cost 2 or makes Hitmonkey cost 1 would be completely insane. So as you're complaining about Ravonna and how she is now, recognize that the game will grow and change over time, and this card will eventually be great. Still, next week, Mobius M. Mobius is going to come out and knock it back down, but for now, it is quite good. If you bought it, don't feel bad. If you're considering buying it, you have the tokens. Look, I think this is going to be better than not Mobius, but the Series 4 after that, Swamp Thing. So it's a worthwhile buy if that's your consideration. I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this here YouTube channel. This is Snap Judgments. I am Glazer. We are a channel that bring you 2 brand new decks every single weekday. Generally speaking, more like 3 or 4 new decks every single weekday. On things like OTA and patch days and new card days, we bring you way more than that. These decks are all proven, they are tested by top players, they have high win rates, they can compete for high ranks, so on and so forth, and so they can help you get infinite. We bring you the meta decks before the meta can adjust to them. In addition, we do the biggest giveaway in Marvel Snap every single month. We're giving away so many damn Loki season passes, I've actually lost count. I gave away just a few extra like at random the other day just because people I don't know. I feel like people wanted Loki, and I'm almost out of money, but I had the money, so I sent it to them. Um, we're doing our best to make sure that we're supporting the community that supports us. So if you'd subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. If you'd like, you'd comment. It'd really help us grow. And we can continue to do what we do, which is help grow the Marvel Snap community and try and help you do your best in the game. We are looking for these 4 people. Tomer needs to email me or message me on Twitter. We've heard from him, them, Greenberger, no idea. Well, the other 3 we have not heard from. If they would reach out, we'd appreciate it. Next up are deck credits. We believe in deck credits here. We believe in crediting people's hard work. These decks are total originals, so we have to credit these people. The card has been out for 2 days, and these are the people who created these versions of the decks. Excuse me. We've got the counter guy, our buddy, who will be on the Snap Business podcast either next week or the week after. Time has lost all meaning, but he will be on the podcast soon. The counter guy is twitter.com/the counter guy. He's also got a Twitch, which you can find on his Twitter. He's awesome. He's a surfer main, so if you like surfer and want to play surfer decks, you need to be checking out the counter guy. He has an 80% win rate, all the way through gold with this deck we're going to look at. Safety Blade is the genius deck builder of Marvel Snap Zone, one of the few we have. I'll just be completely honest, like, the deck builders on this site are so damn good. I am not, like, in the top 3, like, and I'm damn good at this, but, like, wow, the deck builders that I work with. Safety is a genius. He invented the original Darkhawk stature move list. He's been on top of the meta multiple times. He's got a fantastic new Darkhawk take with this brand new card. And then I've got a deck, and like I swore I ran the deck tracker, and then when I went to check it, there were no stats. But like I just rolled up like a couple almost 1,000 ranks. I was at 6,000. I rolled up to like 5,100. It was a little above 6,000, and so I've gained like 1,000 ranks with this deck, and I've racked up like 4 gold tickets with it. I haven't actually done my gold conquest yet, sorry, but I racked up 4 gold tickets with it, with 0 gold losses. Although I did lose 1 proving grounds to a hasty snap. Uh, I should have read the board better. I was getting cocky because I was winning so much. But I've won an absolute ton with this deck. The deck I'm going to tell you about is sick. We're not doing a full guide for that one. We don't usually do a full guide for our third deck of the day. The third deck of the day is just me sort of telling you, I think I may have a thing. Sometimes when I think I have a thing, my viewers test it, and they come up with something really good that no one else knows about. So that'll be the last thing we do. We've got Team Counter Gaming's Ravonna. The counter guy has a Ravonna deck. This is, as always, from the counter guy, a surfer deck. This deck is really, really cool. What it does ultimately is it puts rocks in your deck and plays Darkhawk. Complicated. It also makes a bunch of stuff really, really cheap with both Ravonna and Sarah. And on top of that, Zabu, although Zabu doesn't have as many targets, when you start seeing a 1-cost Darkhawk or 1-cost Absorbing Man, because you got all 3 of the cost reduction cards out, you'll know the difference, right? Like, it's absolutely amazing. You can also make Ironheart cost 1 with just 2 cards, Mystique cost 1 with just 2 cards, Wolfsbane cost 1 with just 2 cards, which means you could do something like, if you got everything going on the last turn, you could play Darkhawk for 1, Ironheart for 1, Mystique for 1, copy Darkhawk. So that's 3. Wolfsbane for 1, that's 4 cards, and then Silver Surfer for 1, 5, 6. Or sorry, for 2, and that's 5, 6. That's 5 cards and a bajillionish power on the board. I don't know. It seems like it's probably a good thing you'd want. And if you wanted, you can cut one of those out for an Absorbing Man on either Wolfsbane or Surfer, and just go all the way straight to town and dominate games. This deck is sick. This deck is sick. I only managed to play it for like 3 or 4 games, but this deck is absolutely great. I love it. I wanted to cut Zabu, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I don't want any Zabu. And then when you get all 3 going, like Zabu's not great unless you get Sarah or Ravonna, but you're very likely to get one of the 2, right? And like sometimes on turn 5, you just go Ravonna and Zabu, and all of a sudden your Darkhawk costs 2 out of nowhere, and your Absorbing Man costs 2, and you can spend your last turn going something like Darkhawk, Mystique, Absorbing Man, and you can Absorbing Man something from earlier. Absorbing Man nothing really, but who cares? Or you can add Wolfsbane to those 2 cards and just have fun, right? Like you can go Ironheart, Wolfsbane, Absorbing Man at the end of the game. Just like go to town, have fun, enjoy. You're gonna win that game of Snap most of the time, right? Like the sheer power of this deck is busted. Okay. Zabu can be Jeff or Black Widow. I think you should keep Zabu. I really like Black Widow in this deck. I tested Black Widow in a similar version earlier pre-Ravonna. A 1-cost Black Widow just seems nuts on turn 4 in a deck that runs a lot of 3s. This deck is built for Ravonna. Don't run without Ravonna. And this deck is gonna fold to Shadow King. We're gonna look at why, because Ironheart, Wolfsbane, Surfer are all adding power, and like if they lose priority and get a Shadow King, you're just usually not gonna be big enough to beat them. So fair warning, luckily, I mean largely Galactus-based reasons, people aren't running as much Shadow King as they probably should. Alright, turn by turn. Your goal here is to make everything cheap. So turn 1, you Korg, turn 2, Zabu, turn 3, you Ravonna or Rock Slide, turn 4, you Ravonna or Rock Slide. Now, quickly, there's not anything else you're super crazy about doing on turn 4, right? If you Rock Slide, you can Absorbing Man, but you really want to get Ravonna out. If you Ravonna, you don't really want Absorbing Man next, right? So consider piling up Ravonna and like Korg or Ravonna and Zabu in one lane. I know that makes you weak to Enchantress, but Enchantress won't be in the meta for another week. And at that point, you consider dropping a Wolfsbane on them. Cool, that should work. Okay, so now you've got at least a reasonable powered Wolfsbane for your later shenanigans. Let's go back. Ooh, sorry. All right, there we go. Turn 5, you want to play Sarah. You can also drop Ravonna and Zabu or Rockslide and Zabu if necessary. And turn 6, go off Surfer plus Iron Man plus Mystique, Surfer plus Darkhawk plus Mystique, Surfer plus Darkhawk plus Wolfsbane plus Ironheart. You can do all of these things. And if you do any of them, you basically win the game. It's kind of how like negative Surfer was busted for a while. Except this doesn't need the 7th turn to do it. So you should enjoy that. It's really powerful. And again, Mobius is going to kill this, right? Mobius is going to make this so dead it's uber dead. However, you've got a week to take advantage of this crazy. And eventually, Mobius will either get nerfed because that shit is busted, or just go away. All right, one last look at the deck, and we're going to talk about variants. We always talk about variants at the end. If you don't care about variants, skip ahead 30 seconds. You're not going to miss too much. I decided to use my chibis that I never use. I think chibi, really no offense to any chibi fans, but I just so happen to have chibis for 3 of the cards in this deck, right? I have a chibi Cord, a chibi Rock Slide, a chibi Sarah, and a chibi Absorbman. So here they are. I actually kind of like the chibi Sarah, not gonna lie. I don't have an Ironheart variant, Sag. I decided since I was doing chibis, I was going to throw a Pixel in there, so Iron Man is here. This is the best Darkhawk, also the only Darkhawk I have. I don't have this Zabu or Ravonna, so now I'm trying to will 2 hips into my shop. And as always, we must have a hip in the deck, so we have a Wolfsbane. This is the only Surfer I have. I plan to buy another one, hopefully. As I end recording this video, it's going to be turnover time, so we're very excited for that Zabu and Ravonna to be in my shop. We're willing it into existence. All right, next deck is Safety's Ravonna Junkhawk. This deck is sweet. Fair warning, he had Morph in it for Jubilee. That should probably just be a good stuff card. I want to try Jubilee. I tried it with Morph. Morph was perfectly fine. I'm not a huge Morph fan. I'm not going to pretend I am. Works fine with Morph, but Safety needed Morph boosters, and he's good enough at the game. He's ranked 200, 300, something silly like that in the world. And he wanted Morph boosters, and he can win at that level with Morph boosters, right? Well, I wanted Jubilee because I think a 3-cost Jubilee can be really powerful. If I don't see a certain piece and I can use a 3-cost Jubilee to get it, I should be in really good shape, right? Okay. We've got Nebula and Korg as our early game. We've also got Widow as our early game. They're going to come down early. Shadow King is a late play, not an early play. Turn 3, you really want Ravonna or Rock Slide as always. But like you've got a Ravonna into Hobgoblin or Iron Man curve, and that's just completely sick. And if you don't see that, you can go Ravonna into Jubilee and still play a card like Black Widow, which seems, I don't know, pretty damn good. Mystique, I really only like Mystique when you have 2 good targets. I think that's an important note for Mystique. But here, Darkhawk and Iron Man are both very good targets. This is the full Darkhawk of like I can gunk up your draw with Korg, Black Widow, and Rock Slide in the deck. So that's pretty damn nice. Replacements. Nebula's fine as Sunspotter Iceman. Nebula's a very good card. It's best in slot 1-drop as a general rule. It's not a necessity or anything. It can just be a regular other 1-drop. And Ravonna should be in the deck. This deck is built around Ravonna. Please note this is a Darkhawk deck with no Zabu. So Ravonna is a necessity. You can consider Ironheart over Jubilee too, as I think of it. I don't know. I'm just messing with that Jubilee spot. I haven't found a card I'm really happy with. Which means, and this sucks, which means it should probably just be America Chavez, if we're being totally honest. We really want Ravonna on 3. We really want Rock Slide early, right? So like it's that all of that means that in general the right card is America Chavez. Oop. Okay. I just realized as I'm looking at this, I haven't tried this. I played this deck again for all of like 3 or 4 games. Time is at a premium. Teaching is happening. But look, if Safety's winning with it, that's going to be good enough for us. You could technically Ravonna into Mystique and just give yourself 2-cost Darkhawk and 3-cost Iron Man for like the last couple turns. You could even do that on turn 5 and then still have a whole bunch of crap for later. I don't know. Seems like that might be good. I'm not sure if that's better than Mystiquing Darkhawk or Iron Man, but I bet you there's situations where that might work out better for you. Okay. Let's talk. This might be the new home for Darkhawk Good Stuff. Darkhawk Good Stuff has sort of fallen off because Loki does it better when it steals it from you. But this deck might do enough to really mess them up, especially Black Widow. Black Widow seems like when they play their draw cards, if you can Widow them, they're going to be sad pandas. All right, so you Nebula or Korg, then you Nebula, Widow, or Korg. And also, if they Loki and they get Nebula, Korg, and Widow, they're just kind of sad, right? Like, those cards are not great on turn 5 and 6. Turn 3, you want a Ravonna or Rock Slide. Turn 4, if you haven't used drop Ravonna. If not, Hobgoblin or Iron Man are pretty damn good on turn 4. I really, really like a tempo hobgoblin on turn 4. It's extraordinarily powerful. In a lane they have a couple things in, but they're trying not to fill. It's like game winning. You win that lane. Or you can drop Ravonna or Rock Slide into 1. You've got Nebula and Cork, right? If you dropped Ravonna, Widow is now 1. Rock Slide and Widow on turn 4 is sick. Especially if they're running America now, they're like are in danger of drawing rocks, and they only have one more draw for the game on turn. Sorry, no, they're not going to draw turn 5, so they're basically done drawing for the game. At that point, they wouldn't draw turn 5, and on turn 6, they're getting America. Like unless they have exactly what they need in hand, you won that game. Okay, next up, you have Darkhawk and Mystique. Why not? Darkhawk and Green Goblin. Why not? Darkhawk, Korg, and Widow on one turn. Enjoy yourself. Turn 6 is the same general idea, but Iron Man gets involved too. You can do Iron Man and Shadow King and just win the game, right? Like one lane is Angela based, and you just drop a Shadow King on, and then you drop an Iron Man elsewhere in another lane that seems medium, gets real tall, and you win. Marvel Snap is fun. All right, variant talk. I went hippier in this deck. I've got first 3 hips at the bottom, and then the hippie goblin, and we are still willing that Ravonna hip into my shop. Same Darkhawk, only one I have. We've got the best rock slide, rock, paper, scissors slide. This Green Goblin is ugly, but whatever, we got it, and I don't have another variant, so we'll live. Like a hip there, but what are you going to do? I bought this Mystique. I have this and the Ms. Marvel one. I like this one better. I think this one's just really cool looking. And it sort of, I don't know why, to me, implies Destiny, her wife. So I like that. Again, Jubilee is a giant swing card, but Iron Man is not. Iron Man is great here with Mystique. I really, really wish Jubilee could be Iron Lad, but when I tried that, safety yelled at me because if I Iron Lad a Goblin, I'm gonna be real, real sad. Finally, we have a variant free Shadow King. I have like 3 Jubilee variants and like 3 or 4 Hobgoblin variants for some damn reason. They just keep showing up for me. I've got like 3 awesome Hobgoblins, and I don't really love any of the Jubilees in the game. I don't know why, but here we are. Whatever. Deck is sweet because it's got 4 hips and hopefully soon 5. All right, this is the last deck we're going to talk about. This is the one I don't have the full deck guide for. This is the deck that I've been playing. So it occurred to me on, I don't know, what was it? Today is Tuesday as of recording, Wednesday as you're seeing this. Hi, Wednesday. That everyone stopped playing Absorbing Man Brood, and I wasn't sure why. Like, the deck didn't get worse, like, at all. I mean, it got worse. Absorbing Man lost a point, which is 3 points, right? And 12 is a lot less than 15, you're right. But, like, the deck isn't bad, and, like, it should be good against Loki because they have to draw a lot of weird specific stuff in the right order, or the deck doesn't do anything. They just got a bunch of bad cards. Well, you've got all this, like, opportunistic synergy. So I started playing it, and, like, I've been stomping out almost everything. It'll occasionally lose to death because I don't it'll occasionally lose to null because I don't bother running armor, but a lot of people aren't running null. So, like, I can just play Iron Man, just go above most things. And I can copy Iron Man on the cheap with Mystique if I want. I've got the full game plan, right? And like on turn 5, I can play either like Sinister and Ravonna or Sarah, and then just go off. And there's just a lot of powerful things I can do at that point, right? If I Ravonna, right, I can now Forge and Sinister or Forge and Brood on 3. On 4, and that's amazing. Like Ravonna is not busted here, right? But like when you do play her, like let's say you go Forge into Brood into Absorbing Man into Ravonna, and like you don't play anything before just drop Ravonna. Then you drop Iron Man and Patriot or Iron Man and Mystique. Right? Like you're gonna win that game most of the time. You're at like 20 plus power in a couple lanes. Your opponent can't do a lot to you, and it's still wildly powerful. I don't know. I like, and there's been games where I've been like, all right, whatever. I don't have the stuff, and I go like, sort of junky stuff, right? Like I'll do a Ravonna on 3, and then I'll drop a Patriot and a Sarah, and I'll be like, oh no, what do I do? Or an Iron Lad and a Sarah. Whatever. And I'm like, oh wait, everything is super cheap, and then I can just do all my combos on the last turn, and I win. Like this deck has been amazing, and I really, really think you should try it. You know, because I'm curious if it's just me, if I'm on a hot streak, Sometimes you go on a hot streak and you just start rolling people. But I'm winning in Conquest and on Ladder with this a lot, and I want people to like let me know what's happening. I'm a sample size of 1, right? So like while these decks are performing incredibly, um both safety and the counter guy have a greater sample size than me. Um Counter guy played all day and stayed up super late, and safety is in a very different time zone and had a whole day to play as well. He doesn't work the day of new card releases usually, and or doesn't work in the morning of whatever. I'm not going to try and say his schedule, but ends up having a bunch of time on day of crime releases, new card releases to like get a full review out. And so like those I'm more confident in the sample size, but my own experience say that this is completely freaking broken and like is one of the better decks in the game. And maybe it doesn't need Ravonna, maybe it does, but if you have the stuff, give this a try. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think of it, because I think I'm onto something here. All right, cool. That's it for today. If you made it this long into the video, please hit that sub button, hit that like button, hit that comment button. We greatly appreciate your support. We'll be back tomorrow with at least 2 more decks, as we will every day. Tomorrow will also be the release, I believe, of the Snap Judgments podcast episode with Den, where we go over the top 10 decks of Marvel Snap. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate all of you.